All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. Thank you so much for coming out. For those that don't know me, my name is Scott Hogan. I am a PGA professional. I'm a teaching professional. Actually, this will be my first year teaching here at Stony Creek. But I've been at the Meadows the last couple of years, just down the road. And before that, I was out in Arizona. I've taught in a couple of different places in the area. And my main focus has been on developing junior golfers, helping junior golfers kind of take advantage of a lot of the opportunities that are available in junior golf. And so that's what we want to talk about tonight. I put this together because I get a ton of questions saying, hey, how do a lot of people play baseball, basketball, football growing up, but golf is still pretty new as far as junior golf and the path that we need to take. So I put this together kind of be a comprehensive look at if you want to get into golf or you're trying to move up the ranks in golf, what are you trying to do? Because we were just talking about it, one of the dads here, we were just talking about at the end of the road, there is quite a bit of opportunity as far as college scholarships, financial aid opportunities that you can take advantage of, but the time to start's now, and also it's getting on a plan to actually be able to take advantage of something like that is where you'd want to get to. So tonight we're going to try to give you a plan of, hey, this is what junior golf looks like to me, and what I would suggest that you start looking for if you're trying to grow your game for the juniors or for the parents, what you want to be doing. So again, just a little bit of background so you know where I'm coming from with a lot of this stuff, okay? I am PGA certified professional. I'm also certified by the Titles Performance Institute. So when we start talking about, we're going to talk a lot about physical performance tonight. That's where I'm coming from with that. So it has some backing to it. I'm also the head coach at Mother Macaulay, and I'm the assistant coach at Governor State. So if you have any questions about college, recruiting, anything like that, that's something I definitely would be happy to answer. And at the bottom, you can see a little bit of my background as a golfer. I was a high-level junior. I was in Illinois. I grew up in Plainfield, and I played football, baseball, basketball, all that stuff, but got into golf through my dad and really, really took to it. I think it was because I could do it on my own, and my dad couldn't coach me that much, but I probably liked that, I think. But, at the end of the day, it was something that I really liked and enjoyed it. I wanted to get better, but it was really difficult for me to figure out how to get better. Also, at the end of the day, when I wanted to go play college, I had zero idea how to play college golf. So that was something that, again, I wish I had that information. That's something that we're trying to push on and pass on to you guys. So that's where we're coming from as we go. I eventually did play a little bit in college. I got sick, and then I tried playing professionally. I still play a little bit, but I definitely coach a lot more now. So
What age did you start?
I started when I was 6. Now, I didn't start playing like full-time until I was like 9, but my dad just started taking me to the range. And a lot of what you see here when we talk about this tonight, my dad got lucky. If he was here, he would say he knew what he was doing, but yeah, I definitely got lucky in that he did do a lot of this. He didn't do all of it, but it did help me get on the path. So I started when I was about 6, but again, I didn't really start trying to play until maybe I was 9 or 10, and then definitely when I got into high school is when I got really serious about it. I started dropping some of the other sports. So I was going to play golf. So, how are you? I got one right there. I'm going to grab you a seat. All right. So again, for those just walking in tonight, we're talking about, there you go, thank you. We're talking about, what's the path look like? I think ultimately at the end of the rainbow here, we're looking at, how do we get into college scholarships, things like that. How can we take advantage of that stuff? But there's a lot of things we have to do before that ever becomes our goal. Okay, so we're going to talk about long-term growth, okay, encouraging long-term growth. This is for parents and for the juniors. And then if that goes well, we can start talking about tournaments. And then what do we do from there? So I think that's a lot of the questions that we're going to have is tournament golf. I feel like that was the feedback I got. What do we do for tournaments and how do we pick those out? So before we can get there, though, we've got to start getting better. We have to grow in the game. And the first thing I'm always going to tell, there we go. The first thing I'm always going to say, no matter if you're a 5, 6-year-old junior, or if you're a high school junior, or if you're already an elite level player, golf has to be fun. It just has to be. If it's a game, if it's something that's not fun, we're going to be in for a really, really long ride on this one, okay? It's just got to be fun. So what I always like to see when we start off on this growth in this game, I like to make sure that golf's a game of creativity, athleticism, and instincts. And all of those things are developed. I think, again, as we start doing more and more scientific research, I think there was always this feeling that there's this talent, right? Innate talent, we gain talent. There's a lot of players in the NBA that, their dads played, stuff like that. Well, they have good genes. I think we're starting to come to a realization that that's not true. Now, they just they happened to be around, their dad made it to the NBA, and he was able to show them the path to get to the NBA as well. So that's why you can see a lot of that. What we want to see when we get out here and play golf is to get away from positions, saying, hey, keep your left arm straight, your head down, things like that. And instead, encourage us to say, there's the target, here's a challenge that's in front of you, how are you going to solve it? And so that's where we say we want to start changing from, I can't do this, to how can I do this? So as a parent, as a coach, as a spectator, a friend, whoever's out there, I'm always trying to encourage that we say, all right, here's the goal. I don't care if we say the flag's over there and we've got to bounce it off the wall before we get there. How can you make that happen? It's inspiring us to be creative, be athletic, and have some instincts. And I think that's a lot more fun than the standard, all right, you're going to the range, you're going to hit these balls, let's see you get into a perfect posture, get into a perfect grip, let's make a perfect golf swing, and let's see what you do. It's not that much fun, it's a little bit boring, and at the end of the day, it's actually not that helpful, and we'll talk more about why in a sec, but it's not that helpful. So as you go to the range, for you juniors, I encourage you to get out there, and as long as you're being safe, number one rule on the golf course, be safe, but I encourage you to say, hey, I would normally hit a pitching wedge here. Well, why not try a 4-iron? Let's see if we can bump this 4-iron up this hill and see what happens. You're going to become a much better golfer if you get these types of skills and as you go, okay? You're going to need this later on. So the other thing we like to do when we like to make this fun is for the parents out there, again, if you're out there going to try to coach them, we want to have fun with process over results. I always talk to my juniors that I coach about this, and my high school team, and my college players actually too. The results of golf are from shot to shot and day to day can vary quite a lot. We just look at this past week. Guy in the first round shot 81 in the tournament. Next day he shot 65. That's golf. That's what it's about. So it's not necessarily about, hey, I hit that ball bad. Oh, that means you're a bad golfer. It's about getting into how we do things. That's what leads to the best results. So if you look at our picture over here, that's a good example. We've actually got our kids out here putting. They're actually putting with a mirror on the ground, and they have a golf ball that's black and white, and they get that ball lined up. Their goal, and so this is a great putting drill if you're looking for a way to improve your putting. You get the ball set up, and then your goal is to line the ball, or get the ball to roll, and just stay with that black and white line going, okay? It's a real easy way to see if you put a good roll on the putt. Now the mirror is there to help make sure that we get set up in the same spot every time. So our eyes are going to be looking at the same spot. Again, these kids here, they get focused on that as opposed to, hey, let's go make putts. Let's get set up the right way. Let's do it. The other thing is, if they watch TV, this would be exactly the same drill that Ricky Fowler does, Rory McIlroy. You'll see the exact same thing on TV. They just showed Ricky Fowler one 2 weeks ago. He was getting ready for his final round, and they showed him getting ready, and he picked up his mirror off the ground, so it's the exact same thing. So the reason we want to do that is because we have a little bit of a philosophy in our coaching, all right? And this is a great one, I think. We like to say be, do, have instead of have, do, be. So the typical way we think about golf and coaching golf is, I wish I had the skills of somebody so I could do what they do and I could be what they are. So I wish I hit the ball as good as that person so I could, hit the ball 300 yards and get the ball and shoot the scores they do and win tournaments. As opposed to, I like my players to think, I want to be a really good golfer. Make that determination. So to do that, we have to do what they do. Hey, I'm going to go practice like they practice. I'm going to set up a drill like they set up a drill. If I do that, I'm going to have what they have. I'm going to become a really good golfer. It takes a little bit of a change to the normal thought. And the reason we do that is it encourages faith in our ability, and instead of encouraging doubt, it actually takes away some doubt. What happens in golf, we want to start focusing on, again, we don't want to focus on the result, we want to focus on the process. This is how we're going to do things. We're going to set up this way, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and then we'll have good results. Not, all right, go hit the ball good. Oh, you didn't hit it good. Why didn't we hit it good? Or, you should have hit it better. That's not what a good player would do. No, trust me, bad players, the first time I ever went to a major championship event and got to watch a major championship was in 2004 at Whistling Straits, the first time they played there. We were watching a professional golfer. He obviously had to be pretty good if he's playing in this event. He was on the 16th hole, which is a par 5. And I watched him hit a fairway wood, and he rolled it 30 feet down the fairway. He topped it completely. That was my introduction to say, hey, these guys can do that. First tournament I ever went to was in 1996 at the Western Open at Cog Hill, the old Western Open. Followed Nick Price and Phil Mickelson, and they were in the trees all day. They were just all over. Couldn't even see where they were hitting from. Realized that it must not be the fact that they hit it really straight or they hit it perfect all the time. It's the fact that they got up there and said, hey, I've got a problem, I've got a shot, this is what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to have the result I want. So that's where we like to focus on with our juniors. Okay, so the first goal is, how do we make it fun? So if you're the juniors out there, we want to get you out there. We want you to say, hey, how am I going to practice? How am I going to do this? I want you to look like a really good player. Think about what a good player looks like. If you see one out there, pay attention to what they're doing. It's always a good idea to emulate them a little bit and say, hey, I can do that too. All right? So that's the first thing that we look for in trying to grow. All right? Now the next part would be coaching, and that could be whether you go through a coach with me or a coach on a team, if you're doing a league, Southside Catholic League's coming up, or if parents, you're taking them out there and coaching them a little bit. So there's a shift in how coaching is going in junior golf, all the way up until high school. And I'm going to show you a graphic here in a second. But proper coaching is going to introduce the proper ideas. And you're going to see that proper form is going to be not what it used to be. So the first one's going to be long-term athletic development. This is very important all the way up into even your 20s. We want to make sure that this is a sport. We see this game is more athletic than ever. If you want to move up and play this game good and get better, we need to make it athletic. The fundamentals we're going to learn tonight. I hope I'm going to show you a little bit of how the fundamentals of what I would teach are a little bit different. But also, it's a lot easier if you introduce them the first time. So I want to share them with you because it's a lot tougher to make this game fun if we have to tell you, no, you've learned it the wrong way. You've got to learn it the right way now. You're also going to learn the proper skills in order. You're also going to learn how to practice. So that's a big part. So we'll go over each one of those a little bit here. So the first thing is going to be long-term athletic development. So this is what a junior lesson looks like to me in at least some part of it. So hopefully you'll take a little bit away as we go. So we'll show you. So we've got two juniors here. They're throwing a couple of medicine balls. You can see they're making it in the swing shape of a golf swing, but they're going righty and lefty, and their instructions are to try to knock me down. That's it. And if we start looking at their swings, they actually look pretty good. We also get a little bit of movement in there. All right, they're moving their feet. And we're also going to get a little bit of jumping in there. So the idea is to be high energy, high movement as they go, and here's why. This might be hopefully the most important thing you take away for tonight, besides hopefully the tournaments too. But we're looking at speed development for a junior. So the old adage in golf was swing slow, take your time, get set, keep your left arm straight, whatever, slow backswing. I've heard a million of them. But in the reality, here's what we found. Again, this is with the support of TPI. When we're developing juniors, we're looking at over here. This is called a peak height velocity chart, and you'll see on there, and it's a little blurry, I know, but you've got different skills. That says suppleness, speed, There's skills actually up here, speed again, stamina, and strength's the last one. The important part to realize with this is there's certain windows as we grow up and grow older that you can develop skills and you can develop physical attributes. So when we are learning to play golf, speed is a really, really important part of the game. You have to be able to swing the club fast enough to hit the ball up in the air, to hit it far enough so you can reach holes, and etc. So what we start to see is there's a speed window here, and there's one here. For the girls, it's a little bit earlier. You're looking at 7 to 9, and then you have another one right at the beginning of high school year. The idea is those are the best times to develop speed in a golfer. Now, these can vary based on who it is. It can be individual, but that's kind of the general range of when these are. And the boys are a little bit later down there. You'll see they go 8 to 10, and then they get up to 14, 15, 16. Those are the best times to develop speed. And why I like to bring this up is once these windows close, they're gone. They don't come back. So if you try, I use myself as an example. I am not a fast person. I am not quick. I'm never going to get quick. All right, my windows are closed. All right, I grew up playing center in basketball. I grew up playing lineman in football. Speed was not part of my vocabulary. Being powerful was. As I've started playing golf, I tried to gain speed. I can't do it. It's not saying that I can't get anything, but all the work I put in, I get about 2 miles per hour faster with my golf club, and I try really, really hard at it. Juniors, during these windows, in about 2 or 3 days, they can pick up 10 miles per hour in their club. So as we go through and we start playing golf, the thing that we want to see is, hey, it's about swinging fast. The game is best played with speed. So as you go out to coach, or as we go out to coach, the number one thing I always encourage is I want that swing to be really, really hard. Okay? I obviously don't want them to throw the club. I don't want them to fall down. But I want it to be a very, very fast swing. So as you get out there, and especially here in the spring, it's a great time. You're getting your swings back. Get out there and swing it hard. Take that driver, tee it up, see how far you can hit it. If you miss it, that's okay. Get out there again and do it. Okay? You're going to pick up speed. You're going to learn how to control it. Now, after those speed windows, that's actually when we develop strength. So as you're getting into the later years of high school, your focus should switch to strength. But the best thing we wanted to say is, and one of the biggest things I see in junior coaching, and I'll travel around a little bit and see it, is there's not a lot of speed. There's more, hey, keep your posture, keep your head down, do this, do that, don't lose control. In reality, it could actually be mostly the opposite. Swing it fast, swing hard in case you hit it's the one I always hear. So getting speed up, that should be the focus for a junior golfer as you're looking to get better and better. All right? Does that make sense? Any questions about that so far? Cool. And so when we talk about fundamentals, okay, what are the fundamentals? Again, I don't look at the golf swing. We see that there's a lot of stuff that happens in a short amount of time, starting from about 7 to 17 for girls and 8 to 20 for the boys. There's a lot of things that are going on. So what I always say is the fundamentals of the swing, they change. Again, speed is one of my fundamentals. It's not gripping the club correctly. It's not swinging the club back, keeping your left arm straight. As parents, if you're out there watching your juniors, and what I do is, what I look for is, does the swing look athletic? If it's athletic, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it's athletic, it's really, really good. All right? The reason why I don't look for perfect technique, we all know this, we buy shoes and clothes for our kids, right? At these ages, how fast do they grow? It's quite a lot. I've had kids that I've taught, and 2 months later, they're 8 inches taller. It's crazy. It's like, holy cow, who are you? But imagine if you had to go out, I taught you how to swing a golf club, and you started hitting it pretty good, and then I took you out there and I said, all right, I'm going to put you on this 8-inch platform, or a 3-inch platform even. I said, all right, now I want you to hit that ball. Use the same technique. It gets a lot more difficult. The other thing that happens with kids and juniors is arms don't grow at the same length. Legs don't grow at the same length. So let's shorten up one of your arms. Let's shorten up one of your legs. Let's see how you do, okay? We're always trying to learn athleticism. So for the juniors in here, if you go out there and you have a day where it's not going great, don't worry about it. Just chalk it up. You're growing up. Here you go. There's probably something that's a little bit off for the day where, hey, maybe you grew half an inch. You didn't even know it. So we always like to say, hey, juniors, if you can go out there and think and be an athletic, you know, think about, if I always like to think, all right, hey, we're going to be tossing a ball. What would that look like if you just had to throw the ball underhand? Generally, the swing looks pretty good, but we throw a golf club and a ball in their hands, things change, our mindset changes. All this stuff we're supposed to remember gets different. So, again, if it's athletic, it's going to be really good. So that's the fundamentals that I look for when we're coaching a junior. So parents that are taking your kids out there, especially if they're new, get them athletic. Just say, hey, what would athletic look like to you? If you've played sports, you probably have a good idea of what that is. And just say, hey, that looks kind of athletic. That's pretty good, okay? So with that, the other thing about that, to relate it back to having fun, speed is fun. It's really fun to swing hard. Happy Gilmore swings, anybody that knows what those are? I love them. They're awesome. Really good way. Again, if you're being safe to yourself, your playing partners, anybody around you, I love giving them a try, okay? The last part about coaching that you want to introduce is practice. I see a lot of juniors that try to go out and practice and try to get better. This is what practice looks like to me. This is actually a card that we use. We're kind of going more digital now, but this is an example. Practice with a purpose. You heard me say it earlier. It's process over results. It's the results don't matter. Now, this is going to sound a little contradictory because there's results all over that card. But what we're looking for is, all right, I'm going to go out and practice, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to hit some short putts. So right here we got a line for total putts made from 4 feet. I'm going to hit 10 of them. How many can you make? Okay, they made 6. Awesome. Can you make 7? Beautiful. If you do it, you're going home. That's it. You don't need to practice golf for 3-4 hours. I think that's the common thought is, oh, I've got to get out and practice ball and hit balls every day. No, you just have to go practice with a purpose. There's a lot of professional golfers that practice for 10 minutes a day because they got what they set a goal. They said, this is what I want to do. They got it done. Go home. As you go, you're going to find that this works out a lot better in making you a better putter and making more putts, but also it gets you into the process. Hey, I've got to set a goal for today. I've got to go out there and try. If I'm hitting short putts, maybe I should set the ball up like I do when I practiced earlier in the drill. That's what we want to see. And also it gives a little guidance to, hey, this is how much I'm actually going to practice. If we want to get better at golf, we want to play tournaments, we need to practice, but the right amount's hard to determine. This is how I like to do it. Okay, setting goals. So we have different options. You can play 9 holes chipping. It doesn't matter really what it is. 9 holes chipping be, hey, you go chip it, go up and putt it, see how many you make. Then go do it again. Do it 9 times and see what you score. And that's what I like to do. We do 9 holes putting. This is where, again, my dad got lucky growing up. He used to challenge me. Like, we'd go out and practice. My dad was a golfer, but again, not that good. But he always wanted to go practice, and that's where he took me out to play. He would say, all right, we're going to go chip. And chipping was the best part of my game growing up. I kind of know why now, and I don't practice anymore, so I now know why it's not that good. But we look at it. He would say, all right, I want to keep, I'm like, Dad, I'm ready to go. Okay, well, and he obviously wanted to keep practicing. He's like, okay, you chip one in, we'll go. All right? There's almost a guarantee within the first or the second one, his plan would backfire, I'd chip it in, and we'd have to go. So it was just setting that goal and made me say, hey, I know what I'm going to do. Again, it made me very good at chipping. Come on in. Come on in. No worries. Here, we'll grab you a couple chairs. I think we're... Yeah. Somebody can sit. All right. You grab that chair right there. How you doing? So as you're going through, you're looking at it, all right, so that's how we would go out and practice. That's the best ways to do it. So again, as we're going through, we're starting to look at this. I haven't talked a whole lot about technique, but I guarantee the technique's going to get better. That's where, again, golf instruction is changing. It's not about having the proper grip, having the proper stance, having the proper posture. I really don't care if the kid gets up there and grabs the club with 2 hands, they're split apart. If it's not going to fly anywhere, they're fine. Okay? It's about making it feel good and athletic. That's what we want to do with it. Okay? So The next part that's going to flow right into it is the equipment, okay? Equipment, and this is my own statement here, but I bet if I went and asked a lot of pros, it would either be their top statement as well, or at least like in the top 3. But proper club fitting is arguably the number 1 determining factor to continued success and participation in golf. When you're buying clubs, the main consideration is not just length. We always knew that. The clubs can't be taller than the kids. But the number 1 thing is the weight of the club. They have to be light enough. Think about what we just said. It's about speed. It's about speed and how fast you can get the club traveling. If it's too heavy, it's not going to work. So I know that can be tough when you're buying clubs because, again, kids are going to grow out of them. So when you're buying them, getting all the clubs is not important. For junior golfers, most junior golfers, unless they're in like high school level, they can't hit like a 5-iron actually and swing it fast enough and see it fly far enough. They just can't do it. It's just not in the cards yet. So getting all of them is not a requirement. You'll see down here, here's a good set. It's got 7 clubs. So you can do that. The other thing is, like, if you buy, like, let's say you buy like a 7 and a 9-iron, the next time get an 8 and a pitching wedge. You can do that. And you can still have a full set as you're going up and you're kind of leapfrogging your way up there. But club fitting is super important. It's something you just want to pay attention to. The thing that I like to look at is, for the juniors, for you kids, if you feel like you can swing your club and it's not controlling you, we're good. Parents, if you watch them, it's kind of obvious when the club is swinging them and they're not swinging the club. Also, if you can't push them to go faster, they probably need a little bit lighter one. So that's a great way to do it. So just to show you what I'm talking about with club weights, so the traditional way, this is for a 51-inch tall player. This is 4'3". This goes all the way up to high school, 6 foot plus, okay? The typical thing was, the gray here is take an adult club, cut it down. This is a Callaway junior set. This is a Ping junior set. This is US Kids, okay? The typical thought was, take the driver, cut it down. Well, you can see it's almost 75 grams. These are grams more than a US Kids club. Now, the other thing is, okay, I'm going to go get a junior set. Junior sets are not all equal. You can see this is a Callaway junior set. It's almost as heavy as the adult club. Again, that's not going to work out very well. This Ping set's still a little bit too heavy, but that's not too bad either, okay? And I love Ping. I play all Ping, so try not to bash them too much. But the US Kids clubs get lighter. Again, it's about being lighter, being able to swing the club. The US Kids clubs are also actually really designed to get the ball high in the air. So I'd recommend that, but again, that's for a 4'3" player there. Something that I will always be judging. I'm not very shy about telling people that the clubs aren't working. So if I coach you and I haven't told you, you're probably okay. But the thing is, when you get to the irons, that's what a 9-iron weighs when you cut it down to the length for the kids. That's, again, the Callaway on that second one. There's the Ping. There's the US Kids one. And the sand wedge, again, getting even heavier. And, again, when we're trying to promote speed and athleticism, it's not, if you've ever seen a kid try to swing a club that's way too heavy, it's not very athletic looking. Remember, if you're coaching, think I have to be athletic, right? I'm going to make this athletic and make a move, make sure they're swinging something that's athletic, okay? So that's equipment. Did I lose anybody yet? Cool, we're good. Last part about growth, okay? If we want to play this game for a long time. Again, my dad got this right and he didn't even know what he was doing. Getting on the golf course. Get on the golf course as fast as you can. I went to the range twice, I believe, before, and I still kind of remember this, so I think I'm right. When I was 6 years old, I went to the range twice before my dad took me on the golf course. Go out and play. Go out and play, because it's impossible to replicate what goes on the golf course, okay? That you can't replicate uphill, downhill, side winds, crosswinds, all of that stuff. There's water hazards, all of that. You can't replicate that on a practice range. It's very difficult. But we can do it on the golf course. The only thing is, we're going to talk about this. If you're going out to play, we got to scale the golf course. Very few of you, the high school players in here, maybe you're playing from the red tees and that's where you have to play, so you're going to play there. But I'm still going to give you a little strategy for what I think you should do. The rest of the juniors in here, I'd say there's no way you should be playing from any of the tee boxes that are on a golf course. And here's what I would recommend. And this is actually what US Kids recommends too, which I'm very involved with. I like US Kids a lot. So because they do good work. But here's an example. If you carry your driver 100 yards in the air, okay, the golf course you should play from 9 holes, and that's carry, that means the ball flies in the air 100 yards, should be 1,500 yards or so, okay, just a little longer. 18 holes would be 3,000 yards. If you think about that, that's about half the distance of a golf course. You should not be moving into the red tee box until you can carry your driver 180 yards in the air. If you can hit it 218 yards, you can go into like the white tee boxes typically at a golf course. That's what LPGA players hit their driver in the air. And then 275 yards in the air, that would be PGA Tour, and they're crazy. Those guys are nuts. So here's what happens. We look at the golf course. You can see we've got a driver and a 7-iron there hole, for example. Let's say we want a kid to hit a driver and then have a 7-iron left to the hole. That's how adults, that's how we play the game, all right? That's how they should play it too. That's how we get strategy. That's how we get to start thinking, hey, how do I hit the ball, this many yards? How do I get it on the green? How do I make pars? How do I make bogeys? How do I make birdies? How do I do that? Well, it's because they actually have to get up there and not just get up and hit it and then grab the longest club in the bag, whack it again, and then they've done it 6 times. They don't even care anymore. It's let's get to the green as fast as we can, and we go from there. So you can see they go by yardage there. Again, I really like it. The thing I always like to tell parents is, and I always ask that, if you're taking them out to play, just always remember this type of thought. Would you play a hole where, and all of us parents, we hit our driver 275 yards, right? Right? I know. For example, we hit a driver 275 yards. Okay? Then we have to hit a 3-wood, and it goes 230 yards. Again, we all do that, right? But then after that, we hit an 8-iron, or a 6-iron, or a 7-iron, and we hit 160 yards. Okay? That's kind of what it looks like when you watch a junior play. They hit 2 woods, they hit an iron, and maybe they're up by the green. If we had to do that, we'd be playing 665-yard holes. I guarantee I would have quit. If I'd quit now, I would never touch a golf club if I had to play 665-yard holes. That's what happens when we play from the tee boxes. That's what the length of the golf course is most of the time for juniors. Okay, so always think about that as we go. And I'm going to get into tournaments here in just a sec, which I know is the big question we have. But I'm going to show you how that's going to relate to tournaments and scaling the course. So kids, when you're out there, think about where you hit it. Don't be afraid to go up there. You'll see on that last picture, right here, we're teeing off in the middle of the fairway. That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. And as we play a lot of more tournaments, actually, that's what you're seeing nowadays. That's what's happening. Not until we get to a better level, that's where we go. Now, the high school kids in here, you're saying, well, we have to play the red tee box. That's where we have to. Or we have to play the whites or the blues. That's where they make us go. We'll get there. We're going to get there in a second, what I recommend for scaling the course. All right? So, that's the steps right there to growth to me. That's what golf looks like as a junior. If I was, everybody always asks me, I don't have kids yet, but if I had kids, what would I do? That would be what I would do. I would make sure they're having fun with it. I don't know if they'd listen to me if I coached them, but maybe they would. I would look at coaching though and look for that type of coaching strategy, making it athletic, make sure they have the right equipment, and I'd take them on the course as much as I possibly can. If we get through that and they're starting to have some fun and they're still enjoying the game, we can start looking at tournaments. Hopefully they still do. Okay, so what are tournaments? This is the big one. I think a lot of you are here for this to understand what tournaments are. And I put this on your sheet too that you can grab. I also have the yardages on there too for you if you want to look at that so you can scale your golf course. So here's what tournament golf looks like to me. At the very top, that's my name. Scout and Golf Junior Tour events. We are going to run 4 Junior Tour events out here this year, and I'll just go over what those look like. I would start there, and I'm going to show you why I would start there, and I'd also start at U.S. Kids Golf tournaments. Full disclosure, I run those as well, and again, I got involved because I really liked what they were doing. I was sending kids to play those before I got involved in running them. I just like to go watch my kids play and see how they do. There's also another thing here It's the IJGA. It's called the Illinois Junior Golf Association. Again, it's on your sheet. For you juniors, you're looking at the YDP level. It's called Youth Development Player level, okay? And again, they're shortening the golf course up. They're making sure it's appropriate length. That's where we would start. And then if you'd like, there's U.S. Kids Regional and National events. There's a World Championship. We've sent kids there. And then we'd move into advanced events. If you're a junior, or this is where the high school kids would start. 2 times this year, I'm going to do advanced events. These will be 18-hole events. They're going to be on Tuesdays, and one's in June, one's in July, like at 27th and 25th. I can't remember. It's on the sheet too. That's why I started doing those. Tournament golf's a skill. I want you to get involved in tournaments. I want you to play as many as you can. These are a lot cheaper. Okay? It's a great way to come out and practice your tournament game. The other thing is then you would start moving into IJGA, and I already heard somebody talking back there. Their high school coach wants them to play it. I like to see my kids play them too. IJGA, they call them playing member events, but that's where you're going to start playing more of the regular tee box, and then you're going to look at local junior tournaments. You can call golf courses, see if they have them. I know of a few if you have questions. I'm not sure about too many around here though. So that's where you would start if you're in the high school level. Highly recommend it. This is basically like the bare minimum of a tournament you should play if you're looking to play in college, right, in this level right here. The next level then, if you're feeling good about that, is regional and national level. So the regional ones, this is the Mid-American Junior Golf Tour. That's run by the IJGA actually. They go basically around the Midwest. It's like Wisconsin, Indiana, Iowa, Illinois. You're going to get kids from all over the place that come and play those in that region. And then the Hurricane Tour, which I actually really love. They just started coming to Illinois, but they're actually the largest tour in the country, and they travel nationally. Coolest thing, I've had a few kids go play. I think it's awesome because they go play, and they'll play with kids from Florida. Like one played with a kid from Florida, one played from a kid from Louisville for 2 days. I thought that was amazing. They got to talk to them. They made some friends. And those that talk to me about the game of golf, I truly believe that golf leads to more in connections, things like that you can create. And who knows, she never know that she may need to call somebody in Florida and she's got somebody. So that would be the next one. And then if we really get good, we're looking at national events. That's the American Junior Golf Association, and then there's a United States Golf Association qualifiers. This would be the level that like Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods, Ricky Fowler, basically every PGA Tour player played at this level in junior golf. They're very, very good. They're really cool. I played in a couple when I was growing up, and they were awesome. They were a great time. You feel like you're a tour player for a week, but they're a little more costly, and they do have financial help to get into those events too, but they are a little bit higher level. You should be shooting around par or under par to get into those. So that's where I would start with tournament golf, okay? And what you're going to see is when you're looking at your sheet down there, you're going to see it says a hat level. The question I always have is, how do I know what I can play in? What should I be playing in? And you're going to see down there it says a hat level. So what I always like to do, and this is what we do in the junior tour events, is I like to challenge us to see what we can do from certain distances. So we've got a white hat system. So for our junior tour events, anybody that comes out and plays in any of the 4 that we do, the first day, if you're playing your first event, no matter who you are or where you're at, you're going to be teeing off from 100-yard marker all the way around. So you're going to play a 900-yard golf course. And you're going to go ahead and see if you can shoot 39 or lower. If you do that, we give you a yellow hat, and we move you back to the 150. Again, if you shoot 39 or lower, you can move back. We'll give you an orange hat. You're going to move it back. 200-yard tee marker, 39 or lower. Then we get into the advanced levels. Then we go to the junior tees. Now you got to shoot 34 or better. And then the red tee markers. Can you break par there and do it? Why do we do it this way? Why do I recommend you do it this way? A, it's giving you a process. A lot of times we say, all right, we're going to play tournaments. We're going to play tournaments. I'm going to do this. But at the end of the day, what's the goal? Well, obviously it's to shoot as low as you can in a tournament, but how are we going to do that? We talked very early on about putting a process to this, making it about the process and not just about the results. Well, some of the important skills in tournament golf are being able to get the ball in the hole really quickly from 100 yards and less. So you're going to get really good at that. The other thing is you're going to get used to shooting scores. That's the number one thing right there, is getting used to shooting golf scores, okay, and shooting low scores. I'm going to show you an example here in a sec, but we want to be able to get the ball in the hole and get used to writing down pars, bogeys, birdies, and not writing down 9, 10, 11. That happens when we play from longer tees, okay? We want to get used to that. The other thing that happens is when you move up, now you're going to add in the other skills. As you keep getting better, you add in the other skills. Like when you get to 150 yards, well, hey, I've only got to get the ball inside of 100 yards because I'm really good at that. I know how to do that. I've only got to hit the ball 50 yards. That's much more manageable for a junior and their psyche and making the game fun. And the good news is most of the time they're going to hit it way farther than that 50 yards anyway. Now, the example that I always give, and actually I'll show you the U.S. Kids philosophy with it, and why we start there, is you can see here, look at these are the yardages they play from. So if you see your age group, this is where you would play from if you went and played those tournaments. You can see it boys 6 and under, and they do go down that young, and they get pretty young out there, but they're playing from 1,100 yards, and they're moving their way up. The thing I don't like is that it's based on age. It's not based on, hey, I achieved something, but they got to kind of be fair for everybody too. So they start moving up. The example I get, I'm going to go back to the first slide of why this works and why this is a good way to do it, is I'll show you this one. This is a student of mine. Her name's Emily. She's 11 years old. This was last year. This is actually taken off the TV. That's her with her dad at Augusta National for the drive, chip, and putt. She started when we had her in the same system of you're going to start out short and you're going to learn to shoot scores. And she went out there and she played and she got really good at it inside of 100. She actually shot 36. Moved up. Next one she shot 36. She went and started playing U.S. Kids, started playing from those yardages. And when we go back, you'll see she never got above 1,500 yards. So she's 11, or 1,900 yards, sorry. 1,900 yards, she's 11. Last year, when she was playing those tournaments, she shot a 32 in one of them, 4 under par. She went out, her dad, then just kind of doing his own thing, decided he was going to do it, but I would have probably been okay with it. He called up the MAJGT, that regional tour we were talking about, called them up. That's college and high school kids. They're getting ready to go play college. Called them up, said, hey, we want her to play. They had to talk her in to get her in. Get her in, and they weren't going to let her play because she was so young. She went out there. She'd never played. They play from 6,200 yards. Again, she's never played more than 1,900 at this point, so 3,800 yards for a 18-hole golf course. So she's hitting like, 80% more distance. She goes out, she plays. She's 11. She shoots 78 for the first round. She shoots 1 under 71 for the second round. She wins the tournament. She's 11 years old. Where it comes from is, that's not to say, she works, she goes out and practices. She has a lot of fun though. She does dance. She does a lot of other things. It's not like she golfs all day. But here's what happens. She got used to shooting a score. Okay, she got used to shooting the score. Said, all right, hey, I've got to do this. This is my goal. So as for you juniors and for parents, what I encourage you to do is when the season starts to go, get out there and start right here. See what you can shoot. Then get to here. Then get to here. If you're playing in our tournaments, then you'll be ready to go and win the tournament from here and keep going. Best thing my dad ever did, we'll kind of relate back. Again, this all comes from my own journey and not knowing exactly what we were doing growing up, and I wish I knew more. First thing me and my dad always did, the first time, I never played a real golf course until I'd already played the game for 2 years. But he, every year, even after that, we went and played par 3 courses to start. They were a little cheaper too, but I was always hitting from 100 to 130 yards all the time. Best thing he ever did. He wanted to do it because it was a good chance to go work on his wedge game. It really worked good for me, getting better at the game though, and feeling like I could have fun Again, I could hit the ball on the green. I could not write down 7s and 8s. I could write down 4s and 3s and sometimes get a par and stuff, and that was really cool. So the other thing this does is, again, to answer that question, how do I know what tournaments to play? Well, those high school kids that are out here, okay, this is going to be for you. These are the levels. You can see I put levels down for like the IJGA, the MAJGT, the Hurricane Tour, all of those. Here, and it's going to say, hey, what color level should you be at? Go out and test yourself and see if you can complete the color level that is on the sheet, and you'll know you're ready. I guarantee you'll be ready, okay? That's how I go about doing it. So trying to give you a little help of like, hey, this is how tournaments work. This is what we do, okay? So the last thing that goes with it, all right, and this is another great thing, and we're lucky we live in Chicago because it's actually a pretty big golf town, but parents that are out there, juniors, go out and watch some of the really good players. There's 3 opportunities this year to watch some excellent golf. The first one's going to be NCAA Championships. That's at Rich Harvest Farms this year. If you've never heard of it, it's in Sugar Grove. It's built by Jerry Rich, who we didn't decide if he made the barcode or if he made the stock ticker yet, but he's really, really rich. Not a pun on his name, but he has this place and it's his like playland, and he loves to bring them out and just basically try to punish golfers. That's his goal. He wants to make the course super hard. But you're going to have the best golfers in collegiate golf here in May. Great opportunity. Free tickets for kids on the Saturdays and Sundays. Great chance to go. I think the adult tickets are $10. I think you'd have to check. So a great chance to go out and watch. The ladies, they're having a major championship here. So a major championship, that's the big tournaments. They have 5 on their tour. They're coming to Olympia Fields this year, so they're really close. They are also doing free juniors, okay? And that's any day if a paying adult goes with. I believe adult tickets they might have been 10 too. I can't remember. I was talking to both of them, but not that expensive. Going out to watch, and then they have the BMW Championship. The big boys are coming. The PGA Tour. That's part of their playoff series. That's in Lake Forest. It's a little bit of a hike. Pretty cool though. That's the top 70 golfers on their tour. Highly recommend you go out and check them out. It's a great opportunity. My favorite part, I went out, I got a hat. When I went to the first Western Open in '96, I got a hat. I got it signed by this amateur golfer. I had no idea who he was. His name was Tiger Woods. And he was playing as an amateur. I got it signed by a guy named Phil Mickelson. But I failed, and I got it signed by like 30 other guys. But I failed to get it signed by the guy with the cool pants, and his name was Payne Stewart. So that hat went bye-bye somewhere, and I wish I had it still. But you get to get really up close and personal. Golf tournaments are not like any other sporting event. You get to be right there. And the best part about it, we were talking a little earlier about, you see bad golf shots. You know, you learn how good they are at certain parts of the game, not just they hit it 400 yards like you see on TV all the time. So it's a really, really good way to get into seeing what golf's all about, seeing getting excited about it, having fun. I went to I believe it was the '96 Western Open was the first one at Cog Hill. I don't know if I would have been that excited about golf if I didn't go. I got a golf ball too. Somebody threw a golf ball to me. That was pretty cool. So that's tournament golf. That's golf. I know some of you are getting ready for leagues. So what I would do is, if you're getting ready, hopefully weather's going to change here shortly. The path that I would look at is, again, how are we going to make this fun? How are we going to scale the course? How are we going to make sure we have the right equipment, even if it's not all the clubs? And how are we going to make this athletic? That's the best way. If you take that philosophy out there and you don't get too bogged down in the details that everybody likes to talk about. It drives me crazy sometimes, but the details of, head down. By the way, if I'm going to give any advice about that, do not keep your head down. It's the worst. All right, it literally is the worst thing you can do. So don't keep your head down. They might need to hit the ground with the club, but it's not because their head's not down. But what we want to do is, again, get out there. If you get help with a coach like myself, or if you're doing it on your own, my basis when I'm trying to coach my kids and the kids I coach is, does it look athletic? Is it athletic? If it's athletic, they're going to be pretty good. Maybe you need a little help. You got to say, hey, Dad, I'm missing the ball. What's going on? Oh, you're swinging over the top of it. oh, cool, just get down a little farther. You'd be surprised at how well that works. So making it athletic, making it fun, and we go from there. So with that said, is there any questions? And I always like to say when we do this stuff, it's like getting hit in the face with a fire hose of information. So I tried to put it all down for the important stuff. Hey, here's your tournaments. I know that was the main question a lot of you had. What tournaments to play? I got some dates on there. These are the tournaments you should do. Okay? Again, if you're a high school player, you're looking to play in the IJGA and you're kind of nervous about what you should do. And I can tell you what these are. Again, I can send you this stuff too. I can send you this little chart so you can see. What did I say? IJGA is what? Red or yellow? Yeah, red. So this is not the red tee markers. This is a tee that we'd set out there. If you really want to compete in IJGA and almost win, right? You got to go out to the 200-yard marker, see if you can shoot 39 or lower. And I know you're in the back. You can hit it on the green every time from 200 yards. So we're good. Just two-putt it, we're good. We got 27 there. So that's how I would go about doing it, getting out and saying, hey, I'm ready to go. If you're feeling nervous about tournaments, things like that, that's it. Wow, no questions. All right, so when we go through, again, this is your path. Many of you are here because you're looking at what's next to get my kit going. You juniors, hey, I want to keep going in golf. That's what you're looking to do. If you're looking for that college pathway, all right, that college pathway. We didn't talk about college recruiting. This is the pathway to college for the parents that are out there. If you're interested in that way, if you keep this up, you will be there, guaranteed. Again, I was talking just for a little reference point. I'm at Governor State. We're kind of upstart. We're only a couple years old, so we're trying to get it ready. But there's systems, there's programs out like our program, all over the place. We hand out 40% tuition to our number one player, shoots 120. Our number 3 player literally never played golf until we saw that she played softball. And she hurt her knee, wasn't going to play softball anymore. We said, hey, do you want to play golf? Here's 40% of your tuition to do so. And she came out. She didn't have clubs either. So that's the opportunities that are out there if you want to get on that. So think about if that's what's out there, then that's it's kind of shocking. Think about if you put a little bit into it and what you can do and how many more doors you can open up. Boys on our team, if you can shoot low 80s, come on board. We're happy to have you. So just a little reference point there of where all this leads to. Okay? Because that's always the big question. How do I save money on college? Absolutely. Okay? All right. Well, you have information there. You have any questions. You have information also about coaching we do here, that I do here. We're already rock and rolling with some of it. We've got some medalists. We got a new medalist camp coming up for you younger kids that are out there. We've got junior teams going. We're going to have the tournaments again. So that all can be signed up for through, I have a website that's on my card. You can do it there, or if you want to email me, you have questions. Next week, we're going to do another one of these workshops, and that workshop is going to be entirely about college recruiting. What do you need to do if you are at that position or you're thinking about getting into college? What do you have to do from not a playing side, and how do you get better, but what do you actually have to do to get recruited and get a coach to offer you some money? So, no questions? That's all I got. Thank you so much for coming. It's nice to meet all of you too.